Hello and welcome into Scorching Start on the Birds Broadcast Network, sponsored by Siemens Bank, your broadcasters for 2023. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore, and Ian, it was a tough home opener for the Firebirds, losing 10-3 to Harwich last night. What went wrong?
Well, I think everybody knew something would go wrong when the sprinkler head on the mound went off just a few minutes before first pitch. But to get down to the nitty-gritty, just too many good pitches from Orleans left in the middle of a strike zone for a hard-hitting Harwich team to whack out of a ballpark. Started with Cam Leiter. Everybody was really excited to see his stuff. Unfortunately, didn't have command of his secondary pitches. He gave up a few runs in 4 innings. And then in the ninth, 4 runs for Harwich to seal the deal in what was a really close game for the most part, but a lot of opportunities that Orleans left Harwich, and in the late stages, the Mariners capitalized.
That's what it was, capitalizing on opportunities. And Bourne comes to town, winless so far, coming off a Cape League championship last year. What do the Firebirds have to really hone in on today to get a win against Bourne?
Well, we're going to keep it on the offensive side of things and say they need to work on hitting with runners in scoring position. Orleans, through 2 games, hitting just 150, 3 for 20 with the good old RISP. Orleans has the bats. They have the guys who have put up the great numbers in college. And honestly, we really like what we've seen from them lineup-wise, just from top to bottom, needing to capitalize on situational hitting, come away with a few big at-bats and crucial moments in the game, because Orleans yesterday scored 3 runs. Both of them came off homers. And we all love homers, but you cannot rely on that, especially in summer ball. You need to find ways to work on your situational hitting.
That's right, Ian. And a few situational hitters. You look back at baseball history, Ted Williams, Roger Hornsby. Hitting coach Max Vesky said he teaches the 1920s, the 30s, the 40s, all history of baseball to these guys. What else did he tell us?
Well, he also told us that he's been to Cooperstown 8 times, and that he has files and videos of hitters that were doing things back in the 1920s and 30s that can still be applied today. So if you don't think Orleans is looking for creative solutions to the issues offensively with just 7 runs through its first 2 games, they are working on solutions. Max Vesky's always thinking about the ways to get his guys engaged, and just to realize that he's not putting pressure on them to do what he wants them to do, but just realizing what each hitter capitalizes on, what their strengths are, and working with them and working through baseball history to try to connect with them.
Absolutely. Each player gets a annotated Ted Williams book when they get to Orleans, and hopefully some of them have been reading it. Anyways, we'll send it over to Sammy Miller. Every single day in the Cape, there's transactions. Orleans has one that you might want to know about. So let's head over to Sammy for more.
Thanks, guys. Last night we received the news that J.D. Urso would be out for the rest of the season. On opening day, he got hit in the head during I.O. Then when he went to get x-rays, the doctor said it was a fracture in his left cheekbone. Our thoughts and prayers go out to J.D. for a very fast recovery, and this team will definitely miss him. He was that consistent voice in the dugout that was also always helping his teammates out and going over adjustments throughout the game. But now the Firebirds have also gotten another player in. It's Connor Eaton from George Mason. He's a left-handed pitcher who helped the Patriots get to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 9 years. So it'll definitely be exciting to see what he does on this Firebirds squad. Dylan, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy, and we wish J.D. Urso all the best. Connor Eaton now on the Firebirds roster, left-handed pitcher out of George Mason, the Patriots. Moving on, one of the Firebirds players who currently don the jersey has been coming here as a kid every single summer, watching past Firebirds. Now he is one. Ian has caught up with outfielder Eddie Micheletti, so let's go to him for more.
Home run over right field, but it probably meant a little bit more to you than just a typical home run, because your summers growing up, you spent them right here in Orleans watching these games, right?
Yes, I did, right over by Nauset Beach, Cedarland Road. Yes, coming here all the time with my family watching these games. It meant a lot to me.
So Orleans all the way. You were Orleans Firebird through and through.
Yes, I don't rep any other color than these. So
what did it mean to you going back a little bit to hear that you would be in Orleans? You get that opportunity to come out here and play your summer ball right here for the team that you had always rooted for growing up.
I mean, it means so much to me. It's very emotional to me. I always told my dad that I really wanted to be out there when I watch these games, and now I get the chance to do it, and I'm beyond blessed that I get the opportunity to do this.
You talk to the family after the game, or do they see it? Were they here, or did they see it? What's the situation there?
Yeah, I went back to the clubhouse, and they all texted me, my mom, my dad, my sisters. They were all congratulating me. They loved it. They saw the video on the Orleans story, and they were super pumped, and they're coming up next weekend, so I get to see them.
That's awesome. Hopefully you can replicate it when they come up here, and I'm sure you can. So going back to just the baseball aspect of it, what are you trying to work on most here in Orleans? Obviously you had a great year, George Washington, but what's the one or two things that you're really looking to hone in on this summer?
Yeah, I really want to show everyone that I can play, big league outfield as well. I believe the bat is there, and I want to keep, show everyone that I'm consistent with the bat and help the team win. And I just want to help the team win on the defensive side as well, out in the outfield.
I know everybody's got their specific approach when they come to the plate. Yours is, not strike out, and you do a really good job of it, but can you kind of talk me through maybe what that at bat looked like for you yesterday? How did you end up hitting that home run over the right field wall?
Sure, yeah. So, before 2 strikes, you can call your shots, you can pick your pitches to sit on, but, 2 strikes, my biggest approach is just get the foot down early and get the bat head to the ball and do not strike out. Just hit it and put it in play, and I learned that from my head coach Greg Ritchie, and my dad. So, yeah.
You and your dad go to these games, and hopefully when he comes, he gets to see you hit another one over the fence. Eddie Micheletti, thanks so much. Dylan, back to you.
Thank you for having me.
Home game of the season. Dylan Pescatore, Ian Nicholas, and Sammy Miller will be joining us soon enough. For our first TV game as well during the season, it's Orleans and their 1-1 record against Bourne, who somehow comes in winless after a championship win last season. They are 0-1-1. Welcome in, everybody. A Monday night, 6:30 start right here at Eldredge as we get ready for some baseball in the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Yeah, it should be an exciting one, Dylan. Obviously, last night the big home opener for Orleans did not go as planned. A 10-3 loss to Harwich, as we talked about. On scorching start, not a lot went Orleans' way. And although Bourne is winless through 2 games, the Bravos have all the talent to turn the thing around just like that. They've been in the last 2 championship series, one a summer ago, and should be in contention when it comes to late July, early August.
That's right, Ian. We're going to step aside for a quick moment for the anthem. When we're back, first pitch baseball here on Monday night on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Except Sundays at 2 p.m. at the Academy of Performing Arts here in Orleans. For tickets, go to academyplayhouse.org.
Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Thank you all for joining us here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube page. Dylan Pescatore, Ian Nicholas, your broadcasters for 2023. If you haven't joined us yet this season, we thank you for joining us tonight. Ian, the Braves come to town, and they got a lot of power. They haven't been able to put up some crooked numbers yet. However, they're just chomping at the bit.
Chomping at the bit after a 3-3 tie last night against the Commodores. Let's go through the Bravos lineup. It all starts with the center fielder out of Auburn, Jackson Castillo, leading off. Batting second is the second baseman from Kansas, Cody Shojinaga. Batting third, the first baseman by way of Virginia Tech, Garrett Michelle. Batting cleanup, the third baseman from Liberty, Cam Foster. Batting fifth, the right fielder from D3 Salisbury, Cavi Castor. Batting sixth, the left fielder from St. Joe's, Brett Callahan. Batting seventh, the shortstop from Maryland, Jake Reynes. Batting eighth, the designated hitter from Rutgers, Hugh Pinkney. And rounding out the order for Coach Scott Landers, number 16, batting ninth, Nolan Watson, the catcher out of Dayton.
On the mound today for the Firebirds is Jake Peppers out of Jacksonville State. Maybe a small school as you see our starting lineups. However, he's come up big against some big SEC opponents.
He has. You look at the ERA at Jacksonville State, and it's over 9, and obviously for a kid that comes from a bit of a smaller school, that might be a little more concerning, but you mentioned it, Dylan. Shows up in the big games. 3 innings pitched against Georgia, gave up just 1 run, 2 strikeouts. Against Auburn, went 5 1/3. Didn't give up a single run with 5 Ks. And against Ole Miss, pitched a couple of innings. Also didn't give up any runs with 4 strikeouts. So you said it. Shows up when it counts. You had the chance to talk to him a little bit before the game, and third starter for Orleans this season, should be able to bring the heat on the bump.
You got it. And I talked to him, as you said before the game. He said, when the games are bigger, when the opponents are better, that's when I'm at my best. He's going to have to be at his best today, because when Orleans pitches well, usually the success follows.
Exactly. In night one, the offense wasn't necessarily there for Orleans. Scored 4 runs, but you could argue a few of those were more because of Hyannis' defense and less because of Orleans' offense. So tonight, after only getting 3 runs last night off a couple home runs here at Eldredge, the pitching is going to have to be good again if the offense is quiet for Kelly Nicholson's crew.
So we're ready to go. Peppers toes the rubber. Castillo into left-handed batter's box. And here on Monday night, Game 3, home game number 2. We are ready to go. First pitch swing is Castillo as he fouls it away.
Castillo did not play last night in the tie to Falmouth. Went 0 for 3 with the strikeout, though, in the season-opening loss to Brewster.
Played against the Whitecaps, played against the Commodores. Now has to play the Firebirds. Some heat past Castillo for strike 2.
Yeah, both of these teams still trying to put things together offensively. Really talented lineups, but it's early in the year and it's summer ball, so working through some issues offensively.
The 0-2 is fouled back to the netting. Keeps Castillo alive.
Castillo actually a small school guy. I know going through the lineups I said he was Auburn, but transferring from Southern Nevada, where he had absolutely monstrous numbers.
We'll do the 0-2 again as Peppers kicks and fires. Tries the off-speed. Didn't get the chase from Castillo. But as you said, Ian, it's like he was playing a video game last year.
It was. I mean, when you're hitting .432, that's unbelievable stuff. And let's see how well it translates both to summer ball and to the SEC.
1-2, fouled right at the plate. Castillo shakes off his foot. As most batters do, have that ankle guard on, courtesy of Evo Shield.
Courtesy of Evo Shield. I gotta say, that's the first time.
It's a brand.
I've heard that. It's a brand. The best brand?
I'd say. Ground ball to first. High hop, but making the catch and running over to the bag is Jones for the first out.
If you tuned into the game last night, you might be wondering, is that the same Cam Jones that towed the rubber out of a bullpen and pitched 2 scoreless innings? It is, Dylan. Cam Jones was able to get it done both on the mound and at first tonight. He's a 2-way and the transfer portal coming out of Georgia State.
Great numbers for Cam Jones, and here's another guy with great numbers. Cody Shojinaga, coming from way of Kansas. Takes a first pitch ball from Peppers. He's been the guy for Bourne for the first 2 games.
He has been 4 for 7 from the plate, and that doesn't include 2 walks.
Now 2-0 to the 2-hitter from Bourne. From Honolulu, committed to Kansas, and now plays as a Jayhawk. Today, he's a Brave.
All over the place.
2 0s way outside as Pepper doesn't follow through.
The only player in this entire Bourne lineup with multiple hits through 2 games. Obviously some switching here and there from Coach Landers, but he is the staple of the lineup.
And Ian, we saw, we go through the stats of each game. It seems like in the first 2 days, sometimes the hitters are a little bit ahead of the pitchers. 3-1 is fouled away. In some games, we saw Wareham, Falmouth, they're putting up double-digit numbers. The Firebirds haven't done it just yet, but in terms of the entire league, offensive numbers are up.
They are, and if you're a fan of maybe the new era of baseball, fast-moving games with a lot of runs.
3-2, chopper to short. Up with it is Blake. He'll make the strong throw over to first. Peppers comes back from down 3-0 in the count to retire Shojanaga.
If you're a fan of the high-scoring games, then maybe you're a fan of this new Cape Cod Baseball League that we're slowly seeing take shape. But these two, Bourne and Orleans, have not necessarily been a part of that wave this season. It's interesting because in college now, especially as we get deeper and deeper into the College World Series, the pitching depth has definitely been exploited. But Orleans and Bourne, they've got plenty of pitchers.
Garrett Michelle into left-handed batter's box by way of Virginia Tech. Takes the first pitch, ball low. The 1-0, smacked to second on the ground. Up with it, and the throw over by Olmstead is in time, and Peppers goes 1-2-3 through this brave order. Firebirds coming to bat when we come back on the Orleans Firebirds network of broadcasting.
What Cape home design will you dream up? For over 16 years, Cape Dreams Building and Design has specialized in building custom homes for clients across Cape Cod. Our core values of honesty, integrity, and quality work are what separates us from other Cape builders and help us make your dreams of your next new home a reality. From new construction to additions and renovations, contact Cape Dreams today or visit our website at capedreamsbd.com.
Right back here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube channel, Dylan Pescatore and Ian Nicholas. Bottom one, no score just yet, as Jake Peppers works through a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the first, and now Bourne and their starting lineup gets out onto the field. Ian, who they got on the bump?
On the bump, they have Matt Marshall, who's been all around the place collegiately, but in the same state mostly of South Carolina, starting at Furman, then a couple years with Wofford, and now transferring to Clemson. It's Matt Marshall, 5th year.
And who will he be facing? The Orleans Firebirds lineup 1-9. Need a little bit more from them tonight, especially with runners in scoring position. But Ian, read us down 1-9.
Starts with Austin Over in the center fielder out of USC, who is yet to get a hit this season, leading off for the 3rd night in a row. Cam Jones playing first, batting second. Eddie Micheletti batting third. Fenwick Trimble batting cleanup for the 2nd time in 3 nights. Jake Casey, after his homer last night, batting 5th. Johnny Olmstead starting for the 2nd night this season, batting 6th. Jack Penny starting and batting 7th. Andy Blake batting 8th. And Owen Carpelati, the catcher, rounds out the order, batting 9th.
Here's Overn to start it out. Was selected to Team USA in the past couple days, so his time on Orleans might be limited. First pitch swinging on the ground to third. The throw over is in time, so 1 pitch, 1 out as Foster throws to Michelle. And Marshall, I should say. A few Marshall. Tongue twisters here on Bourne. Cam Jones taking his step into the box.
As I mentioned at the top of the inning, Jones, great with 2 shutout frames out of a bullpen yesterday, but also hits over 340 during his 4 years at Georgia State. He's a professional hitter and currently in the transfer portal. A lot of teams, a lot of good D1 teams are going to look at Cam Jones when their season wraps up and want him on their squad.
And how could you not, with his numbers and what he brings to the table, not just in the batter's box, but also from the mound?
Yeah, I mean, when you're pitching and you got a 4 ERA with a 47-16 strikeout to walk ratio.
Popped up to first, over goes Michelle, and he makes the catch in foul territory for out number 2.
I mean, those are his college numbers. 4 ERA, across a large sample size of 128 innings. This is a very capable pitcher, and wherever he goes, they're probably going to ask him to do both because he's a lefty. And who's not going to want a lefty pitcher on the team?
And here's another lefty. Eddie Micheletti takes a first pitch strike from Marshall, who's coming out throwing strikes into the zone. That's what he does. Not a lot of walks from Marshall. He's not going to give up many free passes.
No, he's not.
Popped up behind third over into foul territory and goes out of play.
A lefty-heavy lineup tonight for both teams, but for Orleans, balanced. It goes lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty. You get the gist. All the way down to the 9-hole with Owen Carpellotti.
Micheletti down 0-2. Marshall fires high. Maybe Marshall doesn't walk a lot, but Micheletti, one who doesn't strike out a lot.
No, it's an interesting battle.
Popped up behind second. Back goes Shojanawa, now into right, and the catch is made by Castor. Both teams go down 1-2-3 in their frames of the first. We'll go to the second right here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube channel, Firebirds and Braves. Right back here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube channel, Dylan Pescatore and Ian Nicholas, your broadcasters for this year. As we head to the top of the second, no score, no base runners for either team. As Jake Peppers takes the mound for his second inning of work, and he'll have to face the meat of this Brave order.
He does. 4-5-6 after both pitchers went 1-2-3 in the first. Starts with Cam Foster, the third baseman, by way of Liberty, who is still searching for his first knock of the summer. 0 for 3, albeit does have an RBI and a K on the year. We're going to have a defensive lineup for Orleans. Owen Carpellotti behind the dish. Cam Jones, Johnny Olmstead, Jack Penny, Andy Blake make up the infield. And from left to right, Jake Casey, Austin Overton, and Fenwick Trimble make up the outfield for the Firebirds.
Looking for some better defensive performances. The first two games have been a little bit sloppy defensively, and I'm sure everyone in the Orleans organization would say that.
No, definitely a few errors yesterday that cost Orleans, especially in the late stages.
This one popped up right near Kelly Nicholson in the dugout.
He's probably seen that a few times before. 18 years in a row here on the Cape, trying to hype up the guys from the bench in a quick game so far.
Swing and a miss by Foster. Peppers gets him chasing in the dirt.
Interesting matchup of the managers tonight. Kelly Nicholson in his 22nd year here in Orleans. Meanwhile, Scott Landers in just his second year on Bourne.
1-2, smacked into right. Over goes Trimble, and he can't get it. Lets it bounce in front of him. He'll throw it in quickly, but not before Foster earns himself a leadoff single.
Foster's first knock of the summer. One of the better players in the A-Sun. With just a good piece of hitting that drifts down the right field line. Trimble was on it, but this was never going to get there. And you see Foster there. He's smiling, happy to get his first hit through 3 games as a member of the Bravos.
Castor for the Braves. Tries the bunt, pulls back, strike called anyway. First base runner for either team is Foster. Peppers with a long wait. The 0-1 is outside. Fastball, slider, changeup, and a curve for Peppers. 4-pitch mix.
Castor, the lone member of his Bourne lineup who doesn't play at a D1 level from small D3 Salisbury.
The runner is off, hit, and that is a great hit and run. It goes into right field. Rounding second is Foster. He's going to go to third, and he's going to make it safely. Just how you draw it up when it comes to the hit and run. as Castor puts it in the hole, and now the Braves have runners on the corners with nobody out.
That could have been bad, though. Foster took a huge lead off first, almost like he was darting and trying to steal the base directly, but then hesitated right before his teammate, Cavi Castor, put it in between the hole between first and second. I thought maybe for a second the ball was going to hit Foster if he didn't hesitate, but he did. And now all of a sudden he ends up on third. Tough situation for Peppers in the early going. How does he work out of it?
Brett Callahan, the lefty, smacks it to short. Up with it, Blake. On the second for one. On the first, not in time. Good scoop by Jones, but hustling the first is Callahan. He'll earn himself an RBI as Foster comes around to score, and the Braves get on the board first.
It's a good old RBI ground out, or I guess RBI fielder's choice, reaching safely over a first base. Not the worst situation there. Obviously, they had plenty of time to execute the double play. I believe it was probably the bobble at short from Blake. I think could have reacted a little bit quicker, and that play probably gets made. 6-4-3.
Well, soft throw over to first. It was a tough play for Blake. He had to go to his backhand. Throw on to second where Olmstead was there, and his throw on target, but Jones had to make the scoop. All for naught. Pitch is high to Reynes out of Maryland.
But started his collegiate career at Maine, another one of the talented Bourne players making the jump from a small school to a big school, just like Jackson Castillo from Southern Nevada all the way to Auburn.
Now that's a huge change.
And also a huge change, sorry to cut you off there, Reynes, Maryland, a great program. Their head coach today just announced that he would be taking the Open Alabama job, so that's big news for him.
1-0, swing and a miss by Reynes. Cuts through the high fastball and only gets air.
A quiet night here from Orleans, but a good showing from the fans once again on another beautiful night for baseball.
As the trucks go by behind us. This one's going to hit Reynes on the elbow. An off-speed pitch that gets away from Peppers. On to first is Reynes. To second goes Callahan, still with one out here in the top of the second.
This is when you start to get a little concerned if you're Jake Peppers and the rest of his Orleans crew. The double play would have been huge. Obviously, it wouldn't have ended the inning. But now having to maneuver 2 outs with 2 more base runners, and you've already sacrificed a run, can Peppers stay dialed in here?
First pitch fouled back, almost hits us. Not quite.
No.
We stay alive. Hugh Pinckney from Rutgers. The DH tonight for the Braves.
A lot of Rutgers on this Bourne squad. A lot of Rutgers on it. A lot of Virginia Tech. A lot of Virginia Tech really around the league. As Owen Carpellotti is going to have a quick chat with Jake Peppers. What do you think this is about?
It's about just calming down, focusing on his control. And control is kind of what, plagued the Firebirds staff yesterday.
It is. A lot of free passes compared to the night before against Hyannis. Only 3 walks given out on the road against the Harbor Hawks. Last night, 5, but also a couple hit by pitches. We just saw one from Jake Peppers. These are the similar mistakes that doomed Orleans last night against Harwich in a 10.
4-6-3 to get Peppers out of the inning. The Braves do score 1 as we go to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Bourne here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube channel.
What Cape Home Design will you dream up? For over 16 years, Cape Dreams Building and Design has specialized in building custom homes for clients across Cape Cod. Our core values of honesty, integrity, and quality work are what separates us from other Cape builders and help us make your dreams of your next new home a reality. From new construction to additions and renovations, contact Cape Dreams today or visit our website at capedreamsbd.com.
Right back here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube channel. We go to the bottom of the second. We'll watch a replay of this double play. Olmstead tried for the tag. He had to flip it to Blake. who makes a strong throw to Cam Jones just in time to get the runner Pinckney. And that keeps it at 1. That inning could have got out of hand, Ian, but good for Peppers to keep it at 1.
Good for Andy Blake playing his natural position tonight of shortstop, which he'll most likely be playing next season at Duke after 4 great years at Columbia, Ivy League Player of the Year. Started last night for Orleans at second base, if I'm not mistaken, because of the injury to J.D. Urso, which will sideline him, unfortunately, for the rest of the summer. Orleans had to do some shuffling on the fly yesterday, but now knowing that Urso is no longer going to be with you, at least for the next month, if not the whole summer, Blake playing it short, doing a job. Olmstead with a great underhand toss, and that's exactly what you want from the middle of your infield.
So defense bails them out. Let's see if the offense can get going. Fenwick Trimble will lead off the bottom of the second for the Firebirds.
Fenwick Trimble, he provided a spark in that first game, made a couple great plays in right field, and also brought some pop with the bat after a great season with James Madison in his sophomore year.
A guy from his freshman year to his sophomore year, an upgrade of over 60 points when it comes to batting average, and it was the slug year at JMU.
Yeah, only played 4 more games in year 2 than year 1 with James Madison, but had 10 more doubles, 6 more homers, and as a result, 13 more runs batted in. You rarely see that kind of jump in production, and he didn't have that crazy a summer either. I mean, he played in the Valley Baseball League, hit under 200. So it's not the summer ball that really translated. Maybe he learned some lessons there, but certainly putting it to work in year 2 with the Dukes.
Marshall throws his rare pitch out of the zone. There hasn't been many so far today. 1-2. Fenwick gets a little bit of a piece to stay alive.
That's all you need. Just longer at bats. You know, you and I have been talking about what's been wrong for the offense of the Firebirds over the first 2 games of the year. It's been hard to pinpoint it, but just continuing to fight, especially when going down in the count.
Trimble does a good job of laying off the off speed. Evens the count at
11 strikes to just 3 walks. He's pounding the zone. 3 balls, that is.
Popped up behind home. Will the catcher have enough room? Reaching for it, but it hit the net first. Trimble gets a little bit lucky as Watson went back for it. A rather large backstop here in Orleans. However, the ball hit the netting before it hit Watson's glove.
It looked like a fan might have also tried to snag the ball as well, which, to be honest, I thought may have interfered with the catcher, but neither here nor there.
Trimble with a base hit into left field. So the Braves get a leadoff single, and here's Fenwick, who leads off the bottom of the second with a single of his own.
Yeah, goes the opposite way and puts it through the hole. First hit of the night for the Firebirds after going 1-2-3 down in the first inning. And Fenwick Trimble sorely missing the lineup last night. Obviously, you want to rest these guys, not burn them into the ground, but the offense was missing a consistent presence like him in the middle of its order that it had on Saturday.
Casey pops this one into center. Over goes the center fielder Castillo, and he'll make the catch. First pitch swinging was Jake Casey, and another first pitch strike for Marshall. Trimble stays at first, and now here's Johnny Olmstead.
Johnny Olmstead, also somebody in the middle of this order who's now played in all 3 games for the Firebirds, but has yet to collect a base hit, despite hitting just under 290 during his senior season at USC. Definitely has proven he can get it done in the past, and has played all across the infield.
First pitch, fastball, strike for Marshall. Trimble has a lot of speed. He stole a base against Hyannis in Saturday night. Has a good lead as well. Olmstead swings through the high fastball, quickly down 0-2 in the count.
9 stolen bases on the year for Trimble at JMU. Only 1 player on this team heading into tonight had multiple hits on the year. Trimble now just the second bird to have that honor.
Olmstead pops up a high fastball in the infield. Reynes goes to the second base side of second base to make the catch. And after the leadoff single, it's been 2 flyouts for the Birds. Here comes Jack Penny to try to change that.
Who's going to be the person that changes the tide offensively for this team is the question, because there's a lot of bats, a lot of different style of hitters, and we've talked to Max Fesky, one of the assistants who works with the hitters, about his approach to working with each individual guy. And it's not one size fits all. Each hitter has their own tendencies and strengths, but so far hasn't turned necessarily into a whole lot of production outside of that Fenwick Trimble single today.
2 outs for Penny. Checking on Trimble again. He's safe. Just barely got his hand in there. But as you were saying, Ian, it's guys from all around the country. I mean, from Hawaii, Kansas, etc. And they all come in here having different mindsets of hitting. So hard to be that hitting coach for all guys who come from different places.
Checking in on Trimble. Making a nice friend over there is Marshall. But getting back to that point, Festy mentioned, I'm not imposing my will on these guys. I'm not teaching them a certain way or it's my way or the highway. He's definitely well studied.
Penny smacks it left field, but out of play.
Penny, somebody who started at third base last night for Orleans. Again, part of that late shuffle. Urso was in the lineup, but then realized that he would no longer be able to play with Orleans. Broke a bone in his face before the first game of the season.
0-1, same result. Marshall pumping the zone. 19 strikes to just 3 balls.
And that's what's so great about the Cape is you see a pitcher, yes, going to Clemson, but from Wofford. And for 2 years has just been a really high-level pitcher, now getting an opportunity to prove that his stuff translates to the next level.
And another check on Trimble.
He's just in control. He realizes the threat that Trimble has out there at first.
I think he's got more pickoff attempts than he does balls thrown.
What is it, 3 balls? And that's the 4th pickoff attempt to Trimble. We need the MLB rules.
The disengagements.
Also, we were looking for the pitch clock, right? I mean, that's something that we could see here in Orleans sooner rather than later. Orleans was expected to have the pitch clock at the beginning of the year. Who knows? We might see it down the line.
Trimble leads off with a single, but the Birds can't do anything else with it. We go to the third. Still 1-0, Bourne. Thank you, Sammy, as we rejoin you here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube channel. Top 3 we go. Peppers back to the mound. 1-0 Bourne, your score here at Eldredge Park. Ian, it got really hot when we got here around 2 o'clock, and now it's starting to chill out a little bit.
Dylan, I realized I didn't bring my patented NBC sports jacket. I was a little concerned. But I do go to college at Syracuse, so I'm more concerned for you, given the fact that you've had 3 years out in the desert that is Arizona State, and it's gotten a little warmer thanks to the dealings of Matt Marshall. And that guy is throwing heat. It might not be 95, 96, but just pumping it hot in the zone. He's been excellent. 20 strikes, 4 balls? Let's see if Jake Peppers, who had a bit of a rough second inning, can kind of match that, get back in a groove here in the third.
You're right. Nolan Watson, the 9-hitter, leads off for Bourne and swings through an all-speed pitch from Peppers. Watson comes from Dayton. Now quickly down 0-2 in the count. You don't see a lot of catchers go with the high socks, but
what do you think?
I like it. I'm a huge fan of the high socks, and Watson is doing it. He's doing it well. He's playing his game. 0-2 from Peppers. Ground ball backhanded by Penny. The long throw in time. Nice play by Jack Penny as he goes backhand to the line and over to Jones for the first out of the inning. Bourne flips the lineup. Jackson Castillo.
You know, it's interesting because Penny usually plays short at Notre Dame through his 2 years with the Fighting Irish, and last night we were lucky enough to have Link Jarrett in attendance, his former head coach.
First pitch swinging, first pitch crushing. Castillo goes way back and out for a home run. Bourne takes a 2-0 lead here in the top of the third.
Wow, that came out of nowhere. I mean, obviously there's a reason why Jackson Castillo is leading off. Those video game-like numbers at Southern Nevada translating over an 800 slugging percentage in his sophomore season. And he's going to bring that power to Auburn as he lifts it over the right field wall. Just like Jake Casey and Eddie Micheletti managed to do yesterday. Just a well-driven pitch that Peppers just left right down the middle of the plate.
Here's Sojanaga. Chopper to third. Penny steps into it. Makes another good throw over to Jones for out number 2.
But Penny is playing a strong third base. Gives a little smile at the camera. But what I was saying earlier, his former head coach at Notre Dame, Link Jarrett, was here last night to watch Cam Leiter pitch his new prospect. And Jarrett, I think he told you, he's surprised to see Penny playing third. He looks like he's super comfortable out there. Some versatility.
All right, Michelle smacks one foul. Or check that fair. And gone. Down the left field line, and it just sneaks over the wall. So the second home run of the inning by Bourne. Just kept hooking and somehow stayed fair. Down the left field line. Michelle, who grounded out in the first, goes deep here in the third.
Garrett Michelle is a fantastic young player. I had the opportunity to watch him all of last summer when he was with the Saugerties Stallions of the Perfect Game League in New York. And he translated that into his freshman year at Virginia Tech with 11 home runs and 45 RBIs. That's a .630 slug. And for Jake Peppers right now, we were talking about it a little bit before the game, actually with the other pitcher, Matt Marshall. The one knock on him was he gave up 17 home runs this year at Wofford. But for Peppers, it's been his issue tonight with the 2 long bombs this inning.
1-1 to Foster, who singled and came around to score back in the second. Also going with the High Sox. 2 home runs for Bourne in the inning. Castillo and Michelle.
This is exactly the inning that Bourne needed. I mean, as many runs tonight in 2 1/3 as it did all night in 10 innings against Falmouth. And obviously you can't bank on the long ball all day, but against a pitcher who's shown up in big games like Jake Peppers in the past, Bourne is living up to the test.
3-1, right back up the middle into the glove of Peppers. He'll flip it to Jones for out number 3, but not before Bourne adds on 2 more with 2 solo shots. We go to the bottom of the third, right here on the right back here on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcasting Network. 3-0 Bourne as we go to the bottom of the third. Marshall right back out there onto the mound. He's a strike thrower, and now he has a 3-run lead to work with.
And that's exactly what you want because he was already uber aggressive before his team was able to provide him the run support. So imagine what he's going to do now. 27 strikes in 39 pitches. Or my apologies, that's actually Jake Peppers and what he's been able to do tonight. 20-4 for Marshall, who has just been absolutely fantastic, and the contact from Orleans hasn't been there.
Andy Blake takes the first pitch ball out of the hand of Marshall. It's been either 0-1 or 0-2 if the at-bat gets there for every at-batter against Marshall. Blake swings through the off-speed pitch for strike number 1.
Blake, the Ivy League Player of the Year at Columbia. Just over a 360 batting average on the year.
1-1, lines it in left field. This one's going to drop. So the second leadoff single for the Firebirds comes here in the third. In the second, it was Trimble. Here in the third, Andy Blake.
This is what Orleans needed. Getting a leadoff man aboard, especially with what Marshall was doing. Throwing first pitch strike after first pitch strike and just demoralizing the entirety of this lineup to build that positive momentum. That's what you need to start off an inning.
So Blake on first. Here's Owen Carpellotti. First pitch swinging and pops it up in the infield. Behind second is Shogjanaga. He makes the play. And it seems all but reminiscent of that second inning. We'll see if Overn can change the tides.
Austin Overn could use a hit tonight like I don't even know what. Oh, an unbelievable freshman season at USC, over a 300 batting average. Mr. Consistency and center field, yet to get a hit through 3 games in Orleans, and he's led off every single night.
He's had a few walks, he's gotten on base, and he's played really good defense in center field. For most of these Firebirds, it's getting back into the swing of things of a baseball season and getting their speed going. A first pitch strike to Overn as Blake faked the steal. He goes back to first.
There's a little stretch in foul territory as well. He's got a big frame, 6'4", long strides. But Austin Overn is the man with the speed on this diamond right now.
He tries the bunt. He gets it down along the line. It stays fair. The throw is not in time. Overn with the successful bunt. Third time's the charm for him, and a bunt that goes for a hit. So the Firebirds are set up now with 2 on and 1 out here in the bottom of the third.
And you see him and first base coach Joey Cooper just chatting it up, smiling, because, as Dylan mentioned, it's the 3rd game in a row in which Overn has tried to lay down a bunt, and now finally, something that Coach Kelly Nicholson knows is so important to winning baseball games. He has these guys practicing bunts every single day out here. And Overn finally gets the bat down and fair down the left field line for a base hit. 1 of 9 on the year, finally gets on the board.
Cam Jones is the tying run as he comes to the plate. 1 strike on him from Marshall, and this is his first jam that he has to work through. The 0-1 to Jones is low. Blake on second. He singled to start off the inning, and then Overn with a perfect bunt down the third base line that Foster fielded but had no chance on.
Jones, the second-year Firebird, trying to knock this thing up.
1-1 is in there for a strike. Jones gives the shrug. He thought it was a little bit low. Confirmed with the umpire where it was.
Rick Force calling the balls and strikes tonight behind home plate.
They look back. Blake's going to go off for third. Runners are in motion, and the hit goes into left field. Jones is going to drive in Blake. Here comes over into third. The throw gets away. To second goes Jones, and a huge single by Cam gets Orleans back into this one. Now 3-1 Bourne with 2 in scoring position.
2 speedy guys along the base paths in Andy Blake and Austin Overn, and just perfectly executed offense, something that we haven't been able to say so much through 3 games. Making things happen with runners in scoring position, right, Dylan? It's something we talked about before the game. Orleans just 3 for 20, hitting 150 in the first 2 games with runners in scoring position, and Cam Jones, the veteran of this group, makes it happen.
Micheletti takes a first pitch ball from Marshall. On third is Overn, and on second is Jones. They're a single away from tying this game up.
Nicoletti, the big home run last night that brought it to a 2-run ball game.
The 1-0 catches the outside corner. Great pitch from Marshall.
He's going to continue to do his thing. Unflappable. He has been so tonight. Yes, he gives up a run, but he's going to continue to pound the zone.
1-1, 1 out. Micheletti puts it in play. It'll get the job done. A bobble, and it's not going to be made. Micheletti gets the first as Shogunaga had trouble with the routine grounder. That'll be ruled an error on the second baseman. The run comes across and over, and the Firebirds are now down just 1.
Well, you rarely see that, especially at this level, and from such a really good player in Cody Shogunaga. After that blunder defensively, it's time for a mound visit for Bourne. The Bravos, the champions a year ago, I understand the roster turnover, but for Scott Landers and crew, they've just got to settle down. You came off an inning with the highest of highs, and now not necessarily the lowest of lows, but your team is not capitalizing on that lead. It's shrunk to 1 run.
Well, the man to try to make it the lowest of lows is Fenwick Trimble,
who did reach with the single the opposite way. Crafty at bat from the JMU product, who comes up with runners on the corners. And a super speedy Austin Overn. Actually, Cam Jones the third, super speedy as well. Eddie Micheletti over at first.
We'll see what the Firebirds deal with the first and third with 1 out. Micheletti stays put, and Trimble swings through the off-speed pitch at the top of the zone.
30 strikes, 7 balls, now 31. He is truly putting on a show.
Bourne looking for the double play. Trimble pops it up to center. Will it do the job? Back goes Castillo. Tagging is Jones. Catch is made. Jones comes to the plate. Here's the throw. It's offline and cut off. Trimble with the sac fly to tie this game at 3, and the Firebirds come right back from down 3-0 to tie it at 3-3.
Well, that was just a guaranteed run there. A simple job for Fenwick Trimble to execute when you have someone like Cam Jones, who stole 37 bags this past season at Georgia State, which was tied for 8th in the country with Vanderbilt's and former Catuit star Enrique Bradfield Jr. That certainly was more than enough.
He does his job. He gets the RBI. Now with 2 outs, it's Jake Casey who takes the first pitch strike. Micheletti still at first. But the Firebirds with some offensive power and a good response.
As many runs for Orleans tonight as it had all the last night against Harwich, and both those runs came off long bombs from Casey, who's in the box, and Micheletti, who's taking his lead off first.
Marshall deals the 1-0. Casey over the head of Shogunaga and into right field. A single from Jake Casey, who's really starting to heat up. The Firebirds got 2 on with 2 out.
Casey's had some really good moments as a Firebird. Did not have a hit in his first game starting in left field, but had a couple quality at-bats that were an indicator that more would come from the Kansas State product. And the home run last night to right, the hit here, only had a .250 batting average as a sophomore with the Golden Flashes, but 12 home runs, 40 RBIs for a really good team out of the MAC.
Johnny Olmstead with 2 on and 2 out. First pitch crushing back into left center. It's gone! A 3-run homer by Olmstead to break this thing open. Firebirds lead 6-3.
This is the inning that the Firebirds have been dying to have through 3 games. Nearly as many runs here in the bottom of the third than Orleans had in the first 2 games combined with 7. And even then when Orleans scored runs, it was either a home run or a little bit of luck. Tonight, it's been well executed.
First pitch to Penny, pops this one up to third. Over goes Foster in fair territory, makes the catch, but not before the Firebirds put up 6 runs here in the bottom of the third, capped off by a 3-run bomb by Johnny Olmstead. We go to break, 6-3 Birds as we go to the fourth.
What Cape Home design will you dream up? For over 16 years, Cape Dreams Building and Design has specialized in building custom homes for clients across Cape Cod. Our core values of honesty, integrity, and quality work are what separates us from other Cape builders and help us make your dreams of your next new home a reality. From new construction to additions and renovations, contact Cape Dreams today or visit our website at capedreamsbd.com.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller, and before the game, I had a chance to talk to assistant coach Max Fesky, and he gave me 2 keys to the game. 1, commit to the fastball. 2, they said to keep their foot on the gas pedal for all 9 innings. And you just saw the Firebirds had an answer back to the Bourne Braves' strong start. Let's see if they can continue to keep this momentum rolling all game long. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. 6 runs for the Birds in the bottom of the 3rd. And now, Ian, it's all about the shutdown inning. Can Jake Peppers give it to them?
Ooh, we'll see. Al got that same run support last inning, a 3-run lead, just like Peppers has now, and he fell apart. Albeit his defense didn't do him some help. It certainly hurt him there a little bit, too. We'll see.
Castor singled back in the 2nd. He was forced out on Callahan's fielder's choice.
But what a great inning, honestly, for Orleans. Did benefit from an error from Cody Shojanaha at second base, which really led to the implosion for Marshall, who was pitching so well, really, before that.
The 1-2 to Castor is low. Peppers brushes off the mound, and it feels like a huge weight was lifted off the back of the Firebirds offense.
Just putting the foot on the gas pedal for the first time this season.
2-2, swing and a miss in the dirt. The tag by Carpellotti. Peppers has his first strikeout of the night.
That he does. In the 4th inning, you would think if Jake Peppers didn't have his first K till the 4th inning, we'd be a little concerned about where the game was going, but the Orleans offense decided to wake up and combat the 2 long bombs that Bourne was able to come out with in the top of the 3rd.
It's Brett Callahan taking a first pitch strike from Peppers.
Callahan 0 for 3 so far in his young Cape season.
And 1 frame by Carpellotti, but just outside.
A St. Joe's product from Delaware. Not a lot of baseball talent coming out of the smallest state, one of the smallest states in the country.
Ian not putting any respect on the Blue Hens,
You're
home
right.
of current New York Yankees reliever Ron Marinaccio.
One of your favorite Yankees.
1-2, did he go? He did not. Callahan checks his swing just in time as Peppers was looking for back-to-back strikeouts.
Callahan coming off a fantastic season, dominating in the A-10, all-conference first team. On the all-rookie team a few years ago, he's dominant for the Hawks.
2-2, Callahan lays off again. And you can tell that changeup is what Peppers wants to kind of play off of. It starts at the bottom of the zone and dives into the dirt.
It's very misleading, a lot of break.
3-2, fastball is hit down the left field line. Over goes Casey. And he couldn't make the play. Ran out of room.
Especially for a small school guy like Peppers, you have to stand out some way. If it's not going to be the velo, what is it going to be? And for him tonight, it's starting to develop into the changeup, which has been tough to track and definitely really breaks into the dirt hard.
3-2, another foul ball. This one over the road and onto the trees. Peppers from Jacksonville State, good for him. Color-wise, red cleats over at Jacksonville State, red for the Firebirds. We'll do the full count pitch again to Callahan. A little bit high, he lays off of it. Peppers walks Callahan, his first walk of the night. And Callahan reaches for the second time. Reynes will step into the box. Was hit by a pitch last time out. Orleans with a huge bottom of the third. 6 runs, including a 3-run home run by Johnny Olmstead out of USC. First pitch goes high. Nice catch by Carpellotti. Kept that one in front of him as Callahan danced off first.
One thing that has been consistent in my mind through 2 games for Orleans has been the play behind the dish. Only 2 catchers on the active roster and not expecting any more. Owen Carpellotti out of Georgetown tonight. There was Henry Hunter yesterday out of Alabama Birmingham, and they have been as solid as they can get defensively.
Checks over on Callahan, and Jones applies the tag, but getting back safely and with some time is Callahan.
Still feel like, although Orleans coming off a 6-run inning, momentum not in favor of either team right now. I know that might sound crazy, but Pepper still has to get a job done here. Put up a 0 and really solidify that 3-run lead, especially with a runner on and just 1 out. Now behind him to count 2-0.
Reynes holds his hands in front of his chest. 2-0 to second base. In comes Olmstead, who will flip over to first for the out. Not enough power on that one for the double play, but good play by Olmstead to get the out at first.
No, just be smart. You know, there was a play last night where Drew Farreau was at short and probably could have ate it and instead tried to throw it across his body to first. Ended up being an errant throw, and another run came across the board for Harwich. I know not really a similar play there, but Olmstead could have tried, I guess, to go to second, but realizing that he needed to make the out, and you'll live with the consequence, which is a runner in scoring position.
Pinckney to third. Penny stays down on this one. The throw over in time. Peppers works around the walk to Callahan and gets through 4. Firebirds lead 6-3 as we go to the 5th. Or if you're watching on D1 Baseball, thanks for tuning in. Orleans up 6-3. Bourne put 3 up in the top, or 2 up in the top of the third, 1 in the top of the second. And the Firebirds came back with a big crooked number, 6 in the bottom of the inning as they scored and brought 9 to the plate.
And it was a total team effort. 6 runs, but now 6 hits on the game for Orleans. You know, bunt single from Austin Overn. That was big. There's a reason why Kelly Nicholson has been preaching bunting. I understand that 1 bunt doesn't lead to 6 runs, but it led to a lot that inning. It set up a great inning for Orleans offensively.
Blake to third. Foster makes the throw with a good stretch from Michelle for the first out of the inning. But going back to that bottom of the third inning, it was some hits, but also it got extended by some troubling defense by Bourne.
It did. It was a couple errors that obviously cost them. I think the one that we'll remember about is the Cody Shojanaha play that was a routine play at second, and ultimately that one's one he'll probably think about as well. So not to harp on it, but it was a backbreaker and one that you expect to get, especially if you're on the mound and if you're Marshall.
Now 2-0 to Carpellotti. flew out to second back in that third inning. Looking for his first hit as a Firebird from the left side. Two-0, popped right past Auvergne in the on-deck circle.
Carpelati, a lot of pop in the bat with 16 home runs over 2 years at Georgetown. He's barreled a few balls, but has yet to obviously land a base hit. Now his second start behind the dish.
3-1 to Owen in a hitter's count against Marshall. Big swing, grounder to first. Michelle with a great play as he steps on first for the out. First baseman looks like a natural over there as he just pounces on each ball like a cat.
Like a cat. A Hokie with Virginia Tech, a Stallion last summer. Michelle playing wise beyond his years. Dominated it out of North Carolina, where he was born and raised, and he's going to be one of the best players, I think, in the ACC for years to come.
Auvergne, not the ACC, but from USC. We talk about that bunt in that third inning, right down the third base line, and look at Foster now at third, right in on the grass.
He knows.
It again. 1-0 is outside. Now two straight batters find themselves 2-0 in the count for the Firebirds. Looking to keep the inning alive here in the bottom of the fourth. Auvergne swings, pops this one up, and out of play.
Auvern's got some unbelievable speed. Obviously, it was showcased on the bunt single. Coming out soon on our YouTube channel. Most likely it would be a one-on-one interview he did earlier today with Sammy about his time, not just as a baseball player, but also as a walk-on wide receiver for the USC football team.
Another foul ball. Like you said, Ian, the first thing I had to ask him wasn't actually about baseball. I had to say, what was Caleb Williams, and how is that like? Now, he isn't on the USC football roster anymore. They started practice exactly when the Firebirds season started.
Well,
so that wasn't going to work. 2-2, 2 outs, now runs to full.
You probably didn't even need to ask him that question, given the fact you go to Arizona State and you know Caleb Williams kicked your butt, the USC last year. You didn't even need to ask that question.
In attendance in the radio booth as well. 3-2 into right field and down the line. Let's watch Austin run. It hits off against the wall. He's going for two. He's going to make it standing up. So the bunt single back in the third, and now a double the wall in the fourth. He's halfway to a cycle.
I wouldn't get there just yet, but if he needs to triple, he did in fact lead the nation in triples this past season at USC. In fact, he had more triples with 14 than he did doubles with 11. First extra base hit as a Firebird. All he needed to see was one go in the hoop, right? That's the expression. Gets the bunt single to go down. That's just confidence. Something that's been the monkey on his back for the last few games. And he gets it off his shoulders, that pressure relieved. Now he's just out here having fun, getting extra base hits.
Over and off second with great speed. Cam Jones lines this one to left. Back at the wall and caught on the warning track. Good swing from Jones, but back at the wall was Callahan to make the play, and Marshall takes a deep breath. That could have been a two-run shot from Jones. It's not. We go to the fifth. 6-3 Orleans, your score here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube channel. Birds YouTube channel, Cape Cod League Baseball, the 100th season here in 2023. Want to thank our sponsor, Siemens Bank, of course, Mazio Construction, as the Firebirds continue.
And we've seen a starter this year for Orleans go past 4 innings, and why not? The pitch count shouldn't be super high right now for Peppers. They give up 3 runs, but was able to put that past him in the fourth inning with the scoreless frame. So we saw some issues with Cam Leiter yesterday. Didn't have his secondary pitches dialed in. He only went 4. Daniel Ovidia was dealing in game 1, but look, it's summer ball at the end of the day, so you're not going to kill the guy. He only went 4 scoreless. Tonight, Peppers tries to go 5 full.
First pitch to Nolan Watson is high. Grounded out to Penny over at third, who maybe hasn't had the big hit yet, but he's had great defense, whether it be short or third. Swing and a miss on the fastball. Pitching coach Jim Lawler. Hoping for about 60 pitches from Peppers today as Watson fouls this one off. Some action in the bullpen. Derek Clark, the lefty, getting going for the Firebirds. Past the right field wall.
Excited to see him, albeit hopefully not super soon.
1-2, swing and a miss. Peppers with K number 2 on the day as Watson chases the high heat.
The one thing about this pitching staff is, albeit maybe not a ton of superstars have emerged just yet, but it's deep. Even though there are a lot of temp players here in Orleans, we kind of have a good idea of who's going to come out of a bullpen tonight, and a lot of new names, and Clark is going to be one of them at a D2 Northwood.
Back to the top of the order, Castillo. He took Peppers deep and gone into that Firebirds bullpen in the third.
There's a reason why he's leading off. Bourne needed that. But it would be really surprising if the defending champs started the season 3 games in without a win. So they've got the raw power to come back. But can Peppers hold them off for at least another inning?
The 2-0 is inside, now 3-0. And it's that situation of third time around the order, seeing Peppers for the third time, and that's the new thing in baseball, as this one in for a strike. Hitters just get a better feel of a guy they see more and more.
Well, Peppers won the first inning. Bourne able to jump in front in the second.
3-1 outside, ball 4, and now the Firebirds have a decision to make. Is Clark ready? Can Peppers continue on? Shoganaga is 0 for 2 on the day.
Kelly Nicholson's going to stay put here, and so does Jim Lawler. Probably going to try to work through at least one more batter, try to get one more out of Jake Peppers. But Cody Shojinaha is somebody who was 4 for 7 headed into today. The most consistent hitter on this Bourne team.
First pitch, did he swing? He did not. As he checked the swing in time. A lot of speed over there at first with Castillo as well. Clearly on base a lot with a 430 average over at Southern Utah. He must have been causing all the traffic.
It's like his second home, first base. Is this Shojinaha's first at bat since Vierre?
Correct.
At second, let's see how he responds. We've been talking about that for a little bit. His error a few innings ago, a big reason why Orleans was able to put up a 6th spot. Does that translate to the plate, or can he put it behind him and bring his team right back in this game?
Up 2-0 in the count with 1 out. Top 5 with the Orleans Firebirds up 6-3. Base hit into left. Past the glove of Blake. And after getting the strikeout of Watson to start the inning, Spurs.
Kelly Nicholson slowly making his way out to the mound. Peppers with an up-and-down outing in his first as a Firebird. Some moments of brilliance for sure. That great changeup, which died right in the dirt, and definitely got a few batters with swing and miss. But overall, the story of his outing will probably be defined by who comes in right now, and the answer is Derek Clark. And can he get Orleans out of his jam, or does his day end with just 3 earned runs against him?
So Clark comes in, the lefty. 2 on, nobody out. Coming out of Northwood University from D2.
Yes, a small kid, but a big heart, as they say, right? 5'8", 185, rising senior from the smallest city in the state of Michigan. By square mileage, that is. Just half a square mile big in Petersburg, but the guy pitches a lot bigger than his frame and a lot bigger than his hometown. The 2.8 ERA as a junior at Northwood at the D2 level. 103 innings pitched, 104 strikeouts, only 19 walks. Was a first-team All-Midwest Region selection, a third-team All-American who, at this point, after one more season, most likely at Northwood, would probably go down as the greatest pitcher in their school's history. So, a guy who I'm excited to see. Obviously, maybe not going to throw the hardest, but how crafty can he get? Because you're going to have to get pretty crafty here with 2 runners on and 1 out.
And Ian, coming from Northwood, I mean, if you go to a school named Northwood, you got to play in the Northwoods League, right?
You do. And maybe our writer, Brendan Nordstrom, might have seen him a time or two when he was calling games in the Northwoods League last year. 2.4 ERA in one of the best college leagues in the country, not named the CCBL. 4-0 record, 6 starts in 42 innings with 46 strikeouts. Guess how many walks? I'm blocking the stats. Guess how many walks?
Strikeouts, let's say 8 walks.
5.
Wow.
A whip under 0.8. So in what I would consider the second best collegiate summer ball league in the country outside of the Cape in the Northwoods League, he was dominant. So if you don't think he belongs here, you don't think just by looking at him he looks like a guy who can survive and thrive out here, I think you'd be mistaken. But now, hopefully he puts the money where my mouth is and he gets out of his jam here. It's not going to be easy, especially with 0 outs. Just try to limit the damage. 1 out.
2 on, 1 out. Garrett Michelle up to bat. A home run last time out. Kelly Nicholson kind of playing the lefty-righty switches here. 3 of the next 4 batters for the Braves are lefties. Hoping only 1 batter is needed to get out of this inning. First pitch for Clark, just outside. As he brought the heat, you can hear the smack of the glove of Carpellotti. Runner on second is Castillo. Runner on first is Shojanaga. Dancing off second is Castillo. 1-0 is popped into left and foul.
It's a tough test with Garrett Michelle, but lefty on lefty. Another lefty-heavy lineup in Bourne with 5 of them, just like Orleans.
1-1, nice off-speed pitch from Clark. Gets Michelle swinging through air.
Low and away, but it didn't look like that was where that one was headed. It was just a really well-located pitch on the outer half.
The double play still in order. Here's the 1-2 in the dirt. Nice block by Carpellotti. He slides to his left, keeps the glove down, and keeps Castillo at second.
Carpellotti made a great play in that first game against Hyannis. Ended up on the Cape League Twitter for good reason. Threw out a runner at third with that laser beam he has on his right arm.
2-2, fastball just high on Michelle. Runs the count full, and Ian, I know it's just the top of the 5th, but this feels like a huge moment in the game.
You got to throw a strike here, whether you want to or not, against a powerful bat, Garrett Michelle. You cannot load the bases.
There's a 3-2, right back up the middle, and it gets through. Around third comes Castillo. To third, the throw off the glove of Penny. Second, now cuts the lead to 6-4 Firebirds, and the Braves have 2 in scoring position.
Almost worst case scenario for Orleans there. Could have went from bad to worse if Penny wasn't able to quickly jump on that baseball in foul territory. If not, Shoji Naha was going to score and was going to make that a 1-run ball game. But you had to throw a strike there, I think, and Michelle was able to pound it.
Foster swings through a fastball. On third is Sojanaga. On second is Michelle. Foster here at the plate with 1 out. Firebirds up 6-4.
Foster did single earlier in the game.
0-1, now 0-2. Some great arms in the outfield. Casey in left, Overn in center, and Trimble in right. Oh-2 from Clark. To third, catch by Penny. Foster smacks it right at Penny, who makes the nice catch. And Shogunaga gets back to third. Some luck for the Firebirds there, but Penny with some good reaction time.
And Clark's going to be thanking him for that one. Really, got to give Penny a lot of credit. An errant throw he was able to corral, jump on top of just a few moments ago. Secures the line out there.
Castor now at 2 outs, 2 in scoring position as Clark looks to get out of the jam. The lefty bat singled back in the second, struck out in the third.
First and second with 1 out. You walk out of this only giving them 1 run for Orleans. You got to think it's a win.
1-0. Did he go? He did not. 2-0. First base is open. Lefty on lefty as Castor now ahead in the count. Clark gets the sign. 2-0. Swung through it. Castor might have tried to put that one over the bathrooms in right field. However, it looked like he swung after it got into Carpelotti's glove.
Clark's not going to back away from this challenge. Again, his stuff might not be up there in terms of ego, but he's going to pound the zone too.
2-1 off speed. Runs inside. Walk doesn't kill the Firebirds here.
Not after that line out. But loading the bases and potentially giving up your lead entirely would be demoralizing.
Callahan on deck. There's a 3-1 from Clark. Got the outside corner with a nice fastball.
That's a great pitch. Just, if you're going to throw a heater, don't give it to him down the middle. Outside corner, it's a perfect spot.
Full count. 2 outs, 2 in scoring position. The Firebirds up 2. Clark deals. Swing and a miss. Fastball to get it past Castor. And Derek Clark works out of the jam. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Orleans clinging to a 6-4 lead. Micheletti will start off the inning for the Firebirds after it looked a little bit dicey. In the top of the 5th, Jake Peppers put 2 on. Derek Clark came in and finished the job. He did allow 1 run, but Orleans clings to a 6-4 lead. Ian, I'm going to make a statement as we sit here in the bottom of the 5th.
Oh, no.
If Orleans wins this game, they're going to need more than 6 runs.
I would say so. Bourne's not going to go away quietly. It hasn't gone away quietly in each of its first 2 games. An awesome game to open the Cape League season on Saturday and a rematch of the Cape League championship from a year ago. A 6-4 battle against Brewster. And then last night, a low-scoring affair, but one that went down to the wire and what ended up being a tie against Falmouth 3-3. Overall, you just need a strong performance out of your bullpen as a new pitcher has entered the game for the Bravos, and it's Matt McShane, the righty, and another St. Joe's Hawk, just like the left fielder, his collegiate teammate, Brett Callahan.
So McShane comes in. Funny enough, and this might go into the sabermetrics of nobody, but Bourne starts Matthew Marshall, double M. First guy of the bullpen, double M.
That's not sabermetrics, Dylan. That's alliteration. M-M-M-M.
It's the sabermetrics of Dylan.
Yeah, those are sabermetrics I don't want to dive into.
So 4 innings of work for Marshall. In just a minute, we'll get you his line. But McShane out of St. Joe's is the new pitcher for the Braves. Micheletti, ground ball to short. Reynes will make the throw over. 1 pitch, 1 out for Micheletti.
The final line on Marshall, 4 innings on the bump. Gave up 7 hits, 6 runs, only 2 earned. Faced 20 batters. As Micheletti goes down on 1 pitch.
And just looking at the book here, Ian, it seems like Marshall, who came in and had really good numbers, at Wofford, and Furman his first year, and now we'll go to Clemson. Trimble swings through a fastball. If I have this right, the Firebirds have not struck out so far, and that was an issue yesterday.
You have it right. Marshall did not record a strikeout, nor did he walk a batter in his 4 innings on the mound. Orleans just did not have any offensive momentum yesterday.
0-1, pounded into left center. Back goes Castillo to the fence, and it bounces off the gate. Trimble, we're rolling to second with a double. Fenwick with his second hit of the day.
He's all business. He just gets the job done. You talked about his power surge from his freshman to sophomore year at James Madison. I feel like I understand Orleans is probably not going to play him every single night, and if you were any sane Cape League manager, you probably wouldn't play the same guy every night, but this lineup just feels different when he's in the middle of it. He is perfect for what Orleans needs in that 4th spot.
And here's a guy who's also been hot, Jake Casey, with Trimble on second. First pitch is inside from McShane. 1 out on the inning. Casey singled back in the 3rd and scored on the Olmsted 3-run homer. Hitting from the left side against McShane. This one goes low.
Obviously, Casey did have that RBI last night on the solo shot. Lots of raw power, really clean. Lefty swing looks a lot like his father, Sean's, the Reds Hall of Famer. And great pop in the bat, too.
2-0 to Casey. This one low again. Runs it 3-0 in the count. Trimble at second after a double. And that went into that left center gap, which it's hard to hit that fence over there. Center field goes all the way to 434 feet.
It's almost like a square out there in the middle of Eldredge. It's a unique league with a lot of unique parks. I think Eldredge is easily up there at number 1.
3-0 is a strike. Ian, we haven't seen all the parks yet. However, the next 2 days, we will see some more.
Veterans Park tomorrow in Chatham, which obviously everyone knows Chatham. It's the brand when you think of the Cape. And then on Wednesday, Wareham, off the Cape.
3-1 foul ball, caught cleanly by first base coach Joey Cooper.
He's just a cool cat. New Mexico State assistant over there, first over there at third. The hitting coach as well, Max Fesky.
Fielding percentage 1,000 so far. So the count full on Casey. 1 out on the inning, Trimble on second. Swing and a miss. Casey goes down on the off-speed pitch. McShane battles back from 3-0 to get the strikeout of Casey. And here is the man of the hour, Johnny Olmsted.
Off-speed look there. Casey swinging over top of it. It's a really good pitch to get out of a jam there and get your second out of the inning. Trying to hold Fenwick Trimble at second, but you mentioned it. Olmsted, who did not collect the hit in his first 2 games as a Firebird, has started to put it together tonight with that home run to left field.
First pitch fouled right behind home plate. Trimble at second. Olmsted really put a charge into that one to left center back in the 3rd inning. As soon as you heard the crack of the bat, you knew the Firebirds were going to be up 3 runs. The 0-1 runs outside on the slider.
One of the more powerful hitters in all the Pac-12 this past season with 11 bombs, 48 runs batted in. Pac-12 honorable mention as a result.
McShane takes his time on the mound. This one runs high. It gets past the catcher, Watson. To third goes Trimble as the fastball got away from McShane.
McShane did have a great freshman season. At St. Joe's, a 2.4 ERA and 45 innings pitched. Year 2, not as great. 5.5 ERA and 30 innings. And did have 13 walks compared to just 17 strikeouts. So, does have some control issues.
2-1, 2 outs. Olmsted swings and a miss at the changeup. Trimble now at third. If a pitch gets away, he'll be breaking for the plate as Orleans looks to pad their 2-run lead.
Trimble's got that speed with 9 stolen bags this past spring with James Madison.
2-2, 2 outs from McShane. Olmsted down the third base line, but foul. Stays alive. My favorite part about all these players coming from different schools is the different gear they have, the colors. I know Henry Hunter has some green stuff from UAB, and Olmsted with the USC batting gloves.
It works perfectly with the yellow beaks of the Orleans Firebirds logo. It's a clean look.
2-2, Olmsted to third, same thing. Seems like that bat's broken, and yeah, it is.
He shows the umpire. look what I got for you. We're going to need a timeout here.
How many broken bats is that on the season for the
Firebirds? It's a lot.
3 or 4?
These players probably aren't used to it.
That's right, playing metal bats in college.
And what was the story you were telling yesterday of Drew Farrow and his custom bats and how he's got to hook up everybody else on the team?
Yeah, so I said, Drew broke his bat against Hyannis. How are you going to get a new one? Like, can you buy it? He said, Express.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
I know a guy who knows a guy. So Farrow's going to have to get a shipment, and hopefully he doesn't break any more bats. Maybe Olmsted needs it as well. We'll do the 2-2 again, 2 outs with Trimble on third. Olmsted swings and misses. And McShane works in and out of trouble. Here in the 5th, we go to the 6th. Orleans up 6-4.
What Cape Home design will you dream up? For over 16 years, Cape Dreams Building and Design has specialized in building custom homes for clients across Cape Cod. Our core values of honesty, integrity, and quality work are what separates us from other Cape builders and help us make your dreams of your next new home a reality. From new construction to additions and renovations, contact Cape Dreams today or visit our website at capedreamsbd.com.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. Now, it's not all too often that players get to play with their collegiate teammates here on the Cape Cod League, but for Austin Overn and Johnny Olmsted, they traded in their Trojan jersey for an Orleans Firebird jersey this summer. I talked to both of them, and they said how happy they are that they get to have a familiar face out here on the Cape, and they know that no matter what, they have someone to rely on if they need anything. And I know that the Trojans back in LA are very happy that they have 2 of their best players developing their chemistry here in Orleans. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. I know they're happy to be here from LA. However, Olmsted just broke his bat. That's a long time. That could take upwards of a week to get that shipped out from LA.
Yeah, I don't know the West Coast as well as you or Sammy, a couple of Cronkite school students at Arizona State, but it does take a little while. Not a lot of Northeast talent on this roster. Kelly Nicholson, an LA guy himself.
That's right, math teacher over at Loyola High School,
where he's been for upwards of 40 years now. Teaching here on the Cape, teaching back home as well.
Clark gets one off the fist from Callahan. In comes Blake. The throw, the scoop, in time. Blake charges, Jones scoops it for the first out of the inning.
It's really like what, obviously, great play from Blake at short. I think, again, it translates back to that's his natural position that he's played at Columbia, and he's played it so well. He's one of the best players in the Ivy League. But I really like what Cam Jones has done. I mean, that's a great scoop on his back, keeping that left foot on the bag. He does it all.
Clark works another inning here in the 6th. Gets a swing and a miss on the first pitch from Reynes. 0 for 1 on the day. Reached on a hit by pitch in the 2nd.
And Jones is more of a natural outfielder.
0-1, popped into right. Back goes Trimble a couple steps and makes the catch.
The only reason why Jones is playing at first, I'd say, is because you can't play Jake Hyde a third straight game. And Aiden Longwell's still down with an injury that he sustained in the first inning of the first game of the year just a couple days ago against Hyannis. Much better defense today overall from Orleans than they had yet.
Hyannis was third batter of the game. However, he does seem and look better, walking with no problem, and should be back in the lineup in just a couple days, if that.
Pinckney still looking for his first hit of the summer. 0 for 2 tonight, 0 for 4 on the young season.
Up 2-0 in the count. Here comes some Clark. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Firebirds keep it, a 2-run lead. Right back here on the Orleans Firebird YouTube channel, or if you're watching on D1 Baseball, thanks for tuning in. Our first TV game of the season, and hope you're enjoying. I know the Orleans Firebirds are enjoying it so far, especially the offense. 6 runs, which is now a season high for the Firebirds. They lead 6-4 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Matt McShane right back to the bump after a 1-2-3-4 fifth inning. It included a double by Fenwick Trimble, and now he faces Penny, Blake, and Carpellotti. But before we get to that, Ian, you got a little bit of scores from around the league.
I do. And an East Division battle between Yarmouth Dennis and Brewster, the Red Sox. First win of the season, 8-6. That is final. Meanwhile, Cotuit and Wareham in a West Division showdown. Cotuit edging out Wareham 3-2. Hyannis currently beating up on Chatham 6-0 in the bottom of the 5th. Orleans obviously here against Bourne, the 6-4 game currently in progress. And also Falmouth taking on Harwich, tied at 1 in the top of the 6th.
Thank you, Ian. We go to the bottom of the 6th here at Eldredge Park. First pitch from McShane here in the 6th. He's in for a strike against Jack Penny. Has not reached tonight. His third at bat.
They drive in a run yesterday, though, with the sac fly. Actually, that was 2 days ago against Hyannis. A really big play late in the game to put Orleans really firmly ahead in the top of the 9th against the Harbor Hawks on the road.
Agreed, and maybe the offense hasn't come yet, but defensively, he's been so good.
He has. Didn't make an error in that Harbor Hawks game, but outside of that, he's made a couple wow plays defensively from the left side of the infield. Unfortunately, again, the offense not coming there, though.
Strikeout looking for Penny. Here's Andy Blake. Singled back in the 3rd where the Firebirds brought up all 9 batters, and they got 6 runs across.
Orleans did not strike out until the middle of the 5th inning, and now since that Jay Casey K, it's now 3 down in a row for the Birds via the K. Kind of bringing back the deja vu of yesterday all over again. Hopefully Andy Blake, the Columbia turned Duke man, can reverse course.
Starts out 0-1 as McShane breaks out the off-speed. Holds up on that one. Blake started a great play back in the top of the frame out of the inning. 1-1, pop foul.
I don't know who I was more impressed with on that play. Andy Blake for actually getting the ball on time with that big frame of his, or Cam Jones doing the splits with a really great scoop over at first.
1-2 with 1 out. Blake right back to McShane, who puts his glove out and the ball enters it. They'll toss it to first for out number 2 of the inning. You know, the Firebirds have gone down in 4 straight at-bats. Owen Carpellotti, 9-hitter for the Firebirds today. Saved a run with his defense. Back in the 5th. Kept Bourne at 4 runs. The 1-0. Grounded to second. Joe Janawa. Nice play. The turn, the throw, the scoop. In time. Good defense by Bourne as Sojanawa goes to first for the out. Good scoop by Michelle. We go to the 7th. 6-4 Firebirds. We go to the 7th. Pitching for both teams has started to tighten up, has started to get better, and Derek Clark is back out there for his 3rd inning of work.
Really like what we've seen out of him. Just throwing strikes, a lot of competitive pitches. Not going to blow it by you, but as you and I were talking about in between innings, he's just out of a guy. He's dialed in. You can tell he's really taking this opportunity to make a name for himself. It feels like it, because out of all the guys on this roster, he's probably one of the ones you look at and say, where does he fit into the puzzle? And right now, he fits perfectly in the middle of this really good group of relievers.
Clark will start the inning against Watson. 0 for 2 on the day is Nolan, the catcher, out of Dayton. Some action in the Firebirds bullpen. Seems like Connor Eaton, the lefty from George Mason, is getting warm.
Just joined the team yesterday after the Patriots made a run into the regionals of the NCAA tournament. Excited to see him as well.
0-2. Clark deals. Watson pops it up foul to stay alive. Another lefty for the Firebirds, as Ian said. Just got here. What did he say? 8-hour drive from the DC area?
Says he's done longer, but by way of disputant to Virginia.
0-2, swing and a miss. Clark with his 2nd strikeout as he pulls the string on Watson.
The pitching just has been really good for Orleans outside of yesterday. And again, we were talking about it earlier in the game. In a league where offense is starting to dominate, is it Kelly Nicholson, who is known for his teams that have such good pitching, that's going to try to bring this league back to its old ways?
Castillo swings and misses. He's had a big game. 2 runs scored, a home run, and a walk in that 5th inning. Clark starts him out with a strike. Off speed, laid high. 6-4 Firebirds. All came in 1 inning, at bottom of the 3rd. Pitch is in there for a strike. Now 1-2. And Clark isn't messing around. He's not going to 3-ball counts with a lot of batters. He's going right at him.
Either you're going to get a hit off of him in 2 to 3 pitches, or you're going to go down swinging. That's been the mentality for him.
Castillo goes down swinging on the off-speed pitch. Clark, again, number 3 in the strikeout category for the lefty. Here's Sojanaga.
That's now 21 strikes for Clark compared to 9 balls. Very similar to what we saw earlier in the game from Bourne starter Matt Marshall.
Ground ball foul, 3rd base line. Sojanaga 1 for 3 on the day. He got all the way to 3rd base in the 5th. However, was not able to be driven in. 0-1, pop foul. And now Clark is 1 strike away. He's feeling himself out there.
He is. And the plan maybe not necessarily for Clark to go more than 2 innings tonight, but that's the beauty of baseball. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to get hot and what will dictate the plan moving forward.
0-2, so Janaga barely stays alive.
Maybe Clark heard us talking about Eaton over here and said, I'm not done here. I got 1 more in me.
1 strike away is Clark. Here it comes. No chase from Sojanaga. Eaton in that pen waiting, but Clark's saying you got to wait some more. Needs 1 more strike to get out of it. Here's the 1-2. Up the middle, base hit by Sojanaga. Goes with the off-speed pitch right into center. And now a decision to be made. The game-tying run coming to the plate in Garrett Michelle. He has a home run already today. A lefty bat, that doesn't matter, as both Clark and Eaton are lefties. And it seems like Clark's going to get the ball to face him. The tension is starting to rise here in Eldredge. First pitch, strike. Big slap into the mid of Carpellotti.
Michelle's had a great game. 2 for 3, couple runs driven in.
0-1, lays off the change low. Can the Firebirds get out of another jam? Can they keep their lead? As we hear in the 7th. Check over on Sojanaga. He gets back with ease.
Clark, very technically sound. He's got a compact frame, but everything just looks right with him. Even the pickoff. Just really confident.
Checks over. 1-1 again. Popped up foul out of play. So now 1 strike away is Clark. Here in the 7th, up 2 with the game time run right here at the plate. Run on first, Sojanaga. Clark comes set. We'll check over once more. Michelle out of V-Tech. Here's the pitch. Line drive right into the glove of Penny. Derek Clark comes in and does his job and more. Keeps Bourne off the board, gets Michelle out, and we go and we stretch here at Eldredge as we'll head to the bottom of the 7th, but not before we sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. We'll be right back.
That's his thing.
We have sung, we have stretched, and now we're getting back to the game. As the Firebirds come to bat here in the bottom of the 7th, they'll start at the top of the order with Austin Overn, Cam Jones, and Eddie Micheletti Jr. They'll face Matt McShane, who's on for another inning of work. Overn covered in dirt. You can tell he's been putting on a show today.
He has. Came into the game 0 for 8. But tonight, Overn doing exactly what a lot of people, including Kelly Nicholson, expected him to do. Go 2 for 3, including a double, and showcase that elite speed.
First pitch to Overn is fouled right behind home. Gathered up by the bat boy of Bourne and handed off to the bucket.
Matt McShane, he's been excellent out of the pen. 2 innings. He's given up just 1 run, 3 Ks, no walks.
0-1, Overn waits on it, but pops it up behind first. It's going to be a tough play as Castor comes in, and he'll make the catch. And I know it's an out, and it's kind of a moot point here, but Overn popped that one up to right field, shallow right. He almost got to second base. He was running out so quick.
He's just showing out. He ran 100 meters in high school, ran track and field, played football, played basketball. What didn't he do? Played baseball. I didn't even mention that sport, the one he's playing right now. Ran 100 meters in under 10 and a half seconds. No surprise he got the second with ease.
Cam Jones lets this one shine below the zone. Last time up in the 4th inning, Jones almost hit one out. Hit one to the warning track. But Callahan was there to make the play. 1-0 is a little bit low. McShane doesn't get the call. Firebirds need to pad on to this lead against such a powerful lineup in Bourne. Up 6-4, but would like a little bit of that pressure off their backs. The 2-0 is a strike. The sun's gone down. The lights are on here at Eldredge.
One of the few fields in the league which has the honor of having lights and making sure.
The lights are nice. The crowds are still full. People are out here early morning, putting down their chairs and towels on the hill. Two to Jones. Leaves it just low. A great eye from Cam to get this count full.
This has been a battle. Cam got ahead 2-0. Response from McShane. 2 strikes. Now the full count.
With 1 out, nobody on. Here it comes, fouls it off. Past the third base coach, Max Fesky. Had no chance on that one. We'll rule it a hit. And if we're talking about hit or error for the base coaches. We stay full. And here it comes from McShane. In there, strike three. Jones knew it.
Yeah.
The off-speed pitch just landed in the zone. Jones didn't pick up the spin, and that's another strikeout for McShane, who now is up to 4.
First strikeout looking for either team today. And a nasty pitch for McShane's 4th strikeout in just 2 1/3. Mowing down this order.
Micheletti tries to put a hit into that. He lines it to center. Over goes Castillo, and he makes the catch. A hard out for Micheletti. McShane gets through the 7th, and now we go to the 8th. Firebirds up 6-4. We'll see what they do with the pitching. We'll see how they get the final 6 outs. It looks like Derek Clark back to the mound.
For the skateboard, 713-887, 713-887. And for half the money, the winner going home with $253 tonight, 117924. 117924. If you have that number or any of the other numbers, go on down to the 50/50 table behind the home base. Play.
Right back here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube channel, and if you're watching on D1 Baseball, thank you as well. 6-4 Orleans as we go to the top of the 8th. Cam Foster, the first batter for the Braves here in the inning, swings through the first pitch fastball from Clark. And Derek Clark, who came in back in the 5th, 2 on, 1 out. He got out of it, allowing just 1 run, and he's been nails ever since.
That he has. 2 2/3 to his name. Has given up a couple hits, but no runs with 3 strikeouts and no free passes either.
Quickly ahead, 0-2 on Foster. Fouls one off, back behind home plate. Foster singled back in the 2nd, but since 0 for 2.
And 1 for 6 through his first few games here in the CCBL.
0-2, swing and a miss. Clark starting to feel himself on the mound, and that's strikeout number 4 for number 3.
Making it look easy for a D2 kid from Little Northwood University in Michigan. Coming out here to the East Coast to show the entire country what he's got. A lot.
Castor almost swung at one in front of the plate. You can tell Clark's really feeling himself. He's moving around on the mound and just has a lot of confidence coming out of him.
We've had a great camera shot at the first base line, him just heading back to the dugout, almost like he knows that this is just what's expected out of him.
Another swing and a miss.
Walking heads down, dialed in.
Tough bounce, Penny up with it. The throw is high, and off the bag goes Jones. We'll see how they want to rule that one. It was a tough bounce for Penny. It came to him. The throw was high, and the speed of Castor got himself to first base.
I have to think infield single. We'll see what the scorers put on the scoreboard. Obviously, all errors reviewed by the league. So might be calling an error now and calling something else later. As Andrew Patrick, the pinch hitter, comes into the ball game for Bourne.
Patrick, the game tying run right here at the plate. He's going to try to lay one down. He misses it. He did offer, which ruled it a strike.
Patrick at a right state. Just 1 for 9 on the year for Bourne. His lone hit, a home run in the first game of the year against Brewster. led Wright State with over 30 home runs this past spring.
He's got that power in him. Bourne looking to get one swing out of him, and keep in mind Callahan, who was the left fielder before Patrick, was a lefty, so turning back to the right. Swing is fouled off. Now 0-2 to Patrick. Firebirds looking for the double play. Connor Eaton still warming up in that pen, which has a little bit of traffic in it. It looks like he's ready. Clark looking to get out of this inning. 0-2 is low. Great block by Carpellotti. Got his chest in front of it. He draws some claps from the Orleans dugout. They know what that means and how big that play is.
Tough as nails. Loves to hit and loves to provide the fireworks, but also knows just how important being behind the dishes of his team. Been great tonight.
1-2 to Patrick, right back up the middle. Olmstead stays down on it to second for one on the first. Not in time, but what a play from Johnny Olmstead. He slipped on the grass and somehow found a way to flip it to Andy Blake at short.
The play isn't over even if you're on your backside. We saw it yesterday when in left field Eddie King fell down at the warning track, nearly made the play on his back. What should have probably been a routine, ball in left field. But these guys are getting used to this field. Plain and simple. The footing, they just don't know it. Olmstead, though, Johnny on the spot.
That's a good one, Ian. Reynes 0-2 on the day, and Clark looking to get out of the eighth. Dancing off first is the runner. This one fouled back off the netting. Patrick at first. Reynes at the plate, and now down 0-2 in the count. 2 outs, Orleans up 6-4.
Clark exactly where he wants to be right now. A pitch away from 4 shutout.
Here's the 0-2. Takes a look. Now he'll deal. Foul ball at the plate.
Hey, look at Clark. Just knew that he nearly had it. Spoiled a great pitch. Maybe said something under his breath there that we probably couldn't repeat on the broadcast. It was a really, really good pitch on an 0-2 count. Does he have one more in him?
He'll set Patrick off first. Check over on him as he was dancing off the bag. Now a righty getting warm in the bullpen. It looks like Chris Clark for the Firebirds. 0-2, 2 outs. He'll check over again.
If you can keep this a 2-run game going into the 9th, I'd be hard-pressed to be for a lack of confidence with Chris Clark coming out of the mound in the 9th inning.
0-2, popped up, Trimble in, and makes the catch. Derek Clark, incredible by the lefty out of Michigan. He'll send us to the bottom of the 8th. Firebirds still up 6-4.
What Cape Home Design will you dream up? For over 16 years, Cape Dreams Building and Design has specialized in building custom homes for clients across Cape Cod. Our core values of honesty, integrity, and quality work are what separates us from other Cape builders and help us make your dreams of your next new home a reality. From new construction to additions and renovations, contact Cape Dreams today or visit our website at capedreamsbd.com.
Right back here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube channel. Fenwick Trimble to the plate, and he's had a day when it comes to a single, a double, and a sac fly for Fenwick. Bottom 8. Birds up 6-4 here at Eldredge against the Braves from Bourne.
Had to probably travel across the infamous Bourne Bridge to get here.
My favorite bridge.
That's why I brought it up.
Noah Trimble, good off-speed pitch from McShane, drops right in there.
McShane's brought a lot of stability to this game. It's been deadlock for a while now because of his 3 scoreless innings, only giving up 1 hit to an Orleans offense that posted all of its runs in just a frame against Matthew Marshall.
1-1 is in there for a strike. Trimble's been all over the field defensively, and a big night at the plate, looking to cap it off with another good at-bat. Chris Clark, the Harvard man, warming up in the pen. Coming in to close if necessary. Trimble the third. Up with it is Foster. The long throw off the bag, but the tag is right there for Michelle. Man, Garrett Michelle is some type of player, defensively and offensively.
Say it. Perfect game league, breeds good players. His former Saugerty Stallions teammate, Brandon Fish, should be joining this Bourne team soon. I saw him on the roster earlier. Star UMass Lowell. And it looks like we'll see a pitching change.
Yes, so the night is over for Matt McShane. We'll be back in a few seconds as the Braves make a pitching change. Firebirds still up 6-4, bottom 8.
Number 2, Anthony DeFabio.
Right back here on the Orleans Firebirds Network. Thank you all for watching. 6-4 Orleans leads here, bottom 8. New pitcher for the Braves. Ian, what do we got on him?
Anthony DeFabio, a righty, actually left-handed pitcher from Stetson, who probably knows a couple of Firebirds well, including Jonathan Gonzalez and a couple other relievers in this bullpen.
Casey swings first pitch, pops it to right. Back goes Castor, and he makes the catch in right center field.
Good start for DeFabio, a veteran of the Cape League, which you usually don't see in summer ball, has pitched for the Falmouth Commodores each of the last 2 summers. Made 1 appearance for Falmouth last year, and a lot of action in 2021. 9 appearances out of the bullpen. He's been there, done that. Probably been to Eldredge a few times.
Knows how to pitch when the lights are bright. That's what they are right now. Here's Johnny Olmstead, who has the swing that has separated these 2 teams tonight. A 3-run home run back in the 3rd that gave Orleans a 6-3 lead at the time. Bourne scored 1 more, but not anymore. Olmstead fouls this one off. Now 1-1 the count. And boy, did he need that home run. He cranked it.
He did, showing off the raw power. I know you like to joke about the Pac-12 and how the offense is always high. I don't know. Maybe it's the pitching. Maybe it's the guys they're bringing in, because Johnny Olmstead would kind of back up the statements you made about the fact that offense dominates that league and big bats are always swinging it out west, bringing it to the east.
1-1, pops this one foul. I'm with you, and I have no idea what it could be. Could it be the pitchers? Could it be the hitters? I'll tell you this. The warm air, the ball travels further. So maybe a ball that's hit here at the same velocity as over there could be a little bit different. 1-2, he lays off the changeup.
It's not super warm tonight. 64. Beautiful night. A little breezy. Calm day for some great baseball, and these two are going at it.
2-2 runs low. Count runs full. Seems like it's going to be Chris Clark coming out of the pen for the 9th for the Firebirds as they look to move to 2-1 on the year.
Talking about returning players to vacate, Chris Clark in his second year here in Orleans.
3-2, backwards K as the inside corner was hit. DeFabia comes in and records 2 straight outs. So now it's the last chance for Bourne. Let's see if Mr. Clark can come and turn out the lights at Eldredge. We'll be right back. Right back here for Orleans Firebirds baseball. It's 6-4 Firebirds as we head to the 9th, and I told you Clark was going to come in and pitch. I did not tell you which one. It's still Derek Clark.
Open-ended. And we're a little surprised. Give Derek Clark credit. He's earned this opportunity. 3 2/3, only giving up 3 hits, no runs, 4 strikeouts, no walks. Chris Clark, the usual closer, who throws in the mid-90s for Orleans, but instead, it's Derek Clark's time. And the pinch hitter in the game as Joey Loynd, his first at-bat of the night.
Loynd, the righty, first pitch swinging, fouls it first base side out of play. And we mentioned it, he's thrown a lot of innings, Derek Clark has, and a known starter. You know, he's done the long relieving before. The 0-1 is low. Needs the same amount of outs as the number that reads on the front and the back of his jersey.
Started 14 games at D2 Northwood in the spring. Pitched just under 103 innings.
1-1 runs high. Chris Clark, known closer from Harvard, is ready to go in the pen if anything shaky happens to Derek. Loynd, 2-1 in a fresh 9th inning. Ground ball to short. Up with it is Blake. The throw over in time for the first out of the inning.
Hasn't been a lot of weak contact from Bourne since Clark's been in the game. Just been pounded in the strike zone with 4 Ks and overpowering batters. But there, just putting the pitch in the right spot to get the ground out to short. Really ideal for Clark.
And that will do it for Derek. What a performance for Derek Clark. We'll get you his full line when we come back, but an incredible performance from the Northwood man. Comes in, shuts down the defending champs. Allowed a single in his first batter, and ever since, just 1 hit. And that was in the 7th. So Derek exits, Chris enters. 2 outs to get. Right here for the Birds on the Orleans Firebirds Baseball Network. Right back here on the Orleans Firebirds Baseball Network. Top 9, Firebirds up 6-4, and they bring in the tall, flame-throwing closer, Chris Clark out of Harvard. And he came in and shut the door against Hyannis, looking to do it again at home.
Yes, he did. The 11th time in the last 2 summers that Clark closed the game for Orleans, and for good reasons. 2 strikeouts in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the 3-run win. Throws in the mid-90s and throws absolute gas. Was in the top 15 nationally this season with the Harvard Crimson for strikeouts per 9 at 12.7. A career 12.2 strikeout per 9 over 2 years at Harvard, going into his senior campaign because he lost the entirety of his freshman year, but he doesn't lose anything on that fastball. It's lethal. And Orleans hopes it can get at least 2 outs here. Well, get 2 outs here and put the stamp on what has been a really great game against the defending champs, who are still looking for their first win of the year.
Nolan Watson, the batter. Chris Clark comes in. He can run that fastball up to 95, 96. Adds on a cutter and a slider.
Watson struck out his last 2 times up, 0 for 3 on the day.
First pitch, tries to bunt, strike anyway. Pitched back on Saturday against Hyannis, a 1-2-3-4 9th inning. That one hit being a broken bat single to right field. 0-1, just outside with the fastball.
Didn't hate that decision to go for the bunt to start, considering if you get on base, you go back to the top of the order with Jackson Castillo, who's already 1 yard once today.
1-1 in there for a strike. Bourne looking for any chance to get on and bring their tying run to the plate.
If you can turn it back to the top of the order with Castillo and the rest of his crew, you've got a shot.
The 1-2 goes to the backstop. The slider got away from Carpellotti.
The 2 home runs that powered Bourne to the early 3-0 lead, who did they come from? Castillo and the 3-hitter Garrett Michelle. You get on base, if you're Watson, Bourne's going to feel themselves.
Count even at 2, 1 out, top 9. Fastball runs high. The heater runs Clark's repertoire, and the other pitches kind of play off of it. Full count to Watson. Fastball, cold, strike 3. Ring him up as Clark collects his first strikeout of the night.
Not a surprise. Now 3 Ks for Clark through 1 1/3 this summer. You mentioned the fastball is his pitch, and it's pretty impressive given the fact that he's a starter for Harvard, but that fastball's so good, he can still build his whole pitch mix around that one pitch.
Jackson Castillo, last chance for Bourne. First pitch, outside. Castillo, as you said, Ian, he's been hot. A home run back in the 3rd, a walk, and came around to score in the 5th. Last time he struck out. 1 out away are the Firebirds from moving to 2-1 on the year. 1-0, pop foul, back behind the plate.
If Orleans is able to pull it out, they'll look to go for 2 wins in a row tomorrow on the road to Veterans Field against Fichata Mays.
Late start, 7 o'clock, and we'll have more for you on the Firebirds post-game cooling down. 1-1 with 2 outs. Clark deals. Just low. Tried the changeup.
And also nice to see what Orleans looks like against the West Division, right? The Wild Wild West. Hyannis on Saturday, and here against the defending champs.
2-1. Castillo fouls it off, and now Bourne down to their final strike. Make sure to keep it locked right here. We're going to have interviews and a review of the game right after the last out. Clark's 1 out away from getting it. 2-2, 2 outs with the Birds up 2, 6-4. Clark deals. Foul ball off the end of the bat of Castillo.
He won't go down quietly. An absolute machine at Southern Nevada. Headed to Auburn for a good reason. Top of the order with so much pop in the bat for Bourne, and not dead yet.
Clark will shake off. Now he gets on the same page as Carpellotti. The 2-2 home, another foul ball back to the netting.
The netting didn't get much of it. That's because Chris Clark sending that thing in hot, and Castillo is sending it out hot.
Clark deals another foul ball as Castillo making this one a battle.
One heck of a battle. This might be the best at bat of the game. A really great reliever against the best, most talented player in this order.
We'll run it back. 2-2 again. Clark on the same page. He fires. Cold strike 3. The Firebirds take it on Monday night, 6-4. Chris Clark with the save. 2 Ks in the book. And he turns out the lights at Eldredge on Monday night.
It's been your line for the last 2 games. Turn out the lights on Saturday against Hyannis. Turned them out here at home for the first time in 2023. And both times, to the surprise of nobody who knows Orleans baseball, it's Chris Clark who gets it done. And he did get the final 2 outs, but honestly, Chris Clark wouldn't have been in that position if it wasn't for his fellow pitcher and fellow Clark, Derek. What a performance he had out of a bullpen after an up-and-down start for Jake Peppers. Derek Clark came in, was probably not supposed to pitch more than 2 innings today, and doubled that. Fantastic stuff from a D2 product out of Northwood, which allowed a really great offensive explosion early on in this game to be in a win.
That's right, Ian. It was the Clark combo. The Clark combo. Let's call it that. As we start our cooling down segment of the postgame, a little bit of rain starting here in Eldredge, but stick with us. 6-4 Orleans, your final. And it was all offense back in that 3rd inning, and they needed a little bit of a breakout. Olmsted.
I'm now joined alongside USC's second baseman, Johnny Olmsted. Johnny, a beautiful hit, a 3-run homer. How did it feel to see that ball soar out?
Yeah, it felt good. Get the good part of the bat on the ball and, have it sneak over the wall for a 3-run homer there was, we needed a hit right there, and luckily I could come through with a little slider over the plate. So it felt good to put a good swing on it, but, good team win overall.
And take me through the emotions of celebrating in the dugout with your new teammates.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. I love these guys already. These guys are the best. So, getting in there, a little fun in the dugout after that's always a good time.
And how incredible is it to play in a place like Eldredge Park? The hill was filled to see you guys get the win.
Yeah, it was awesome. This place is great. Obviously, all the history here is super cool. And seeing the hill filled up is always a good time. So, having a blast so far, and happy with the result tonight.
And the Bourne Braves are the defending Cape Cod League champions, so they're no easy team. What do you think the biggest keys for your win tonight was?
I think we just got to go out there and play our game and stay within ourselves and just trust our ability. We got some good guys in the dugout, and if we just trust in ourselves, the scoreboard will say something good at the end. So.
You're not the only Trojan on this team, your teammate Austin Overn. So how is it to be able to have your collegiate teammate here on the Cape with you?
Oh, it's awesome. Ovi and I got really close over the year, and having him out here, just having a guy that I know and someone that I'm comfortable around has been great. And it's always a good time with Overn. He's an incredible player, fun to watch. So can't complain. It's awesome.
And we're 2 California kids, so I have to ask, do the East Coast beaches stack up to the West Coast?
Yeah, they stack up. I'm still getting used to them a little bit. It's a little bit different out here, but so far, can't complain. There's been some pretty cool beaches and some good stuff going on. So
awesome. Well, thank you. Congrats on the win.
Thank you, Sammy. Standing around with Johnny Olmsted, the 3-run home run that capped a 6-run 3rd inning and allowed the Birds to get a 6th spot on the board. They only scored in 1 of 9 innings, Ian, but it was enough for tonight's 6-4 victory.
We haven't seen, I know it's usually the phrase used in football or basketball, we haven't seen 48 or 60 minutes of all-around offense from Orleans yet through 3 games this season, but when your pitching is as good as it was today and it was on Saturday against Hyannis, you only need 1 awesome inning.
Yeah.
The back of his mind over the last few games, unable to successfully lay down a bunt 2 games in a row. Cam Jones with a single in that inning. Fenwick Trimble doing a job with his sac fly. Jake Casey getting another knock. And then, of course, have to talk about Johnny Olmstead, who also a hit before tonight. But just like his USC teammate, Austin Over, and was able to really generate a lot of power, send it over the left field wall. As we're still rolling here on Cooling Down on the Birds Broadcast Network. Still trying to snag one more post-game interview even after Sammy talked with Johnny Olmstead. Dylan, there's a lot of great stars from this game, and one of them who we're trying to talk to, Fenwick Trimble. Team really missed him in the lineup yesterday. Comes back and shows them why they missed him.
Absolutely, and he came in and he kind of started off the offense. I mean, back in that second inning, first hit of the game, first base runner, and then in the third inning, he does his job. Sac fly to center field, drives in a run, and in the fifth, he lined a double off McShane, which that was not an easy guy to hit off of. That was the only hit the Firebirds got off McShane, and it was off the bat of Trimble. Also made a few nice plays in right field. He's been just a spark plug to this offense.
He certainly has. Fenwick is batting cleanup for a reason. I'd say more than a spark plug. He is single-handedly holding this.
Hey, Sammy. Fenwick.
Trimble is going to be coming on our show quite shortly in just a few moments, and we hope to hear some good things from him. Joins us on Cooling Down, but Fenwick, Fenwick, you can do it. Fenwick, you can do whatever you want, man. You can stand up, sit down. I'm not going to make the rules because you played a great game today, and I just want you to tell me what happened in that big 6-run frame. This offense been up and down through a few games. You weren't in the lineup yesterday, but you were big today, and the guys just rallied in that early on in that 6-run inning. What led into it?
We just didn't try to do too much. Stuck to getting on the fastball and not worrying too much about the off speeds and just get on the right pitches, take balls, swing at strikes. And, it worked out for us. It was a good 6-run inning there, and was enough to win the game.
And what do you think from yesterday to today? I know you weren't in the lineup, so maybe you have a bit of a better perspective because you were watching the whole game from the dugout. What do you think was the biggest change offensively that you saw today that allowed you guys, even if it was only, in the third inning when you put up those 6 runs, overall it just seemed like a better day offensively for the whole group. Why do you think that was?
I think we just didn't miss hittable pitches, and that's been kind of what we've been struggling with the last couple games. And, it's obviously we're getting back into everything, but, I mean, we didn't miss pitches today, and that's what was enough to win the game. And
someone who didn't miss pitches from the other perspective was Derek Clark. I mean, there's so many great names on this team. D2 Northwood, and he was unbelievable out of the bullpen. What'd you love from him?
He's a competitor. He pounds the strike zone, and he's not scared of anyone. And he's a great pitcher, and he pitched great, 5 innings there? So
felt like it. It was just around 4.
4, yeah, that was huge for us.
And I know you weren't here last summer. A lot of these guys weren't here last summer. But to take down a team like Bourne, which has played in the last 2 Cape League championships, won the Cape League title last year, coming off a tough home opening loss yesterday, what do you think this means for the group?
I mean, it's just a lot of confidence, going we're above 500 now. Obviously, we only played 3 games, but getting back in the win column's good for us. A lot of confidence going in to finish off these next couple games for our off day. And it's big for us, just winning games.
The off day comes Thursday, but before that, a road trip to Chatham and Wareham. Fenwick plans to play a big role, hopefully, in both those games. Fenwick Trimble, thanks so much for joining us on Cooling Down.
Yeah, thank you.
And wrapping up shop here on the Birds Broadcast Network, performances from Fenwick Trimble and the rest of the crew in that 6-run third inning led to the win, 6-4, Dylan. And a big one over the defending champs in Bourne, who still find themselves winless through 3 games.
Yeah, and it's so tough because it's only 3 games, 100%. This Bourne team is not going to go winless for much longer. They have a lot of talent on this team. The lineup with Shogunagawa and Castillo and then Michelle, that 1-2-3 could be the best in the league of what I've seen so far. Maybe the results didn't come tonight. However, the Bourne Braves, and we know their history, we know what they've done the last 2 years, they're going to come out and have a great season, even though the first 3 games haven't gone their way.
No, I mean, Scott Landers knows how to win. Won in Brewster in 2021 as the pitching coach there, and the infamous Jamie Shevchik Cape Cod coaching tree, and was able to beat his former head coach, or manager, I should say, last year when Bourne took down Brewster. So this is an absolute winning program. Bourne's got some great players. Really excited to see what they do the rest of the year, but at the same time, excited they're not in the East Division. The Wild Wild West will continue to beat down on each other. Meanwhile, in the East, Orleans is going to have to compete, and they have a really big test tomorrow against Tom Holliday and the Chatham Anglers. That's a 7 o'clock game. We should get on the air roughly around 6:45 from Veteran Field, I should say. And on the Birds Broadcast Network, we'll have that action for you on the radio call tomorrow night. So make sure to like and subscribe right here on our YouTube, or if you're watching on D1 Orleans Firebirds on YouTube, make sure to give us some love.
That's right, Ian. So before we go, we got to do some landscaping, got to pay the bills. You know how it is. Mazio Construction, LLC. They work hard to build a resume for themselves. And let us put our knowledge, experience, and passion together to work for you. Our team is committed to exceed your expectations. New home, addition to existing home, renovation, whatever you have, they will handle it. We work close with our clients to make sure that all your needs are met. We're honest, on time, on schedule, and passionate about what we do. Give us a call. Let us introduce you to our work, and let's see how we can help you. That is Mazio Construction. You know who might need a little bit of construction? Johnny Olmstead, home run, then the broken bat. He's going to have to get a new one. Hopefully he has a guy like Drew Farreau does. But 6-4, the final here for Orleans as they take it and move to 2-1 on the season. It went Peppers, Clark in the pitching. From the bats, Johnny Olmstead with the 3-run home run. So let's wrap it up here on Cooling Down as we hit 8:50 on the clock. 6-4 your final. Tomorrow, as Ian said, right back here on the YouTube account, we will be a radio broadcast tomorrow in Chatham, 7 o'clock first pitch. However, we start, scorching start, at 6:45, and make sure to follow us on social media at Orleans Firebirds on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Let's wrap it up. Dylan Pescatore, Ian Nicholas, Sammy Miller, and everyone behind the scenes, especially our producer, Will. Thankful for everyone that helps out. And that's the final. 6-4. Everyone have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow from Chatham.
Ian Nicholas, Sammy Miller, and everyone behind the scenes, especially our producer, Will. Thankful for everyone that helps out. And that's the final. 6-4. Everyone have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow from Chatham. Everyone